Well, with more on this one-year anniversary of the war, we're now joined by Mona Abuamara, Chief Representative of the Palestinian General Delegation to Canada. Madam Abuamara, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I want to begin with what you feel about the actions you've seen from this country, because we've now, for a year, seen the pictures and we've seen the video of the devastation, the suffering in Gaza and what's happening to Palestinian civilians on the ground. Do you think this government is doing enough to respond to that suffering?
So first and foremost, it's a sad day because we can't see the same reaction towards an anniversary not of October 8th, but of a whole year of live-stream genocide. And we can't see the same response from the government, from issuing statements to remembering the 15,000 children, now 18,000 children that have been slaughtered in Gaza, the tens of thousands that have lost their life, the hundreds of thousands plus that have been injured, and 10,000 and more under the rubble. So that was the sad part about waking up today and witnessing that the Palestinian life is not as worthy, seemingly, to the West in general and to Canada in particular. But other than that, if we go to the political aspects of it, of course, we appreciate Canada inching towards a change in policy and a change in position. But since it hasn't stopped the genocide, hasn't taken these firm actions that could prevent all this misery and atrocities that are happening to the people, we always think that there's more that needs to be done.
Well, Canada has been calling for a ceasefire, and I know that you believe more can be done. What more exactly do you want to see from Canada?
That's a good question. So since the beginning, I've been saying that the solution is by treating the root cause. So we can't choose which date we want to start with, because the story did not start on October 8th. It did not definitely start on October 7th, and not decades before. So we need to go to the root cause of this struggle for the Palestinian people, which is occupation and apartheid. It's oppression. Peace and occupation and apartheid and genocide cannot coexist. Since the Israeli government, this one in particular, shows the world that it doesn't want anything to do with peace or the creation of a Palestinian state, we resort to international law, to international organizations and international courts to help us achieve that solution. And we have been calling the Canadian government to just go ahead and implement international law, recognize Palestine, implement the ICJ advisory opinion, and move forward to the next step if they really champion for a two-state solution, because Israel is saying plainly that it does not believe in it.
Well, the stumbling block, I think, fair to say, for many who don't know where to fall in this, is the entity Hamas. Mm-hmm. This country considers Hamas a terrorist organization. We also received a statement from the Israeli Prime Minister yesterday to mark, as you say, one of the many statements we heard on the anniversary of October 7. And this is what the statement says from Benjamin Netanyahu, quote, "We will end the war when we complete all the goals we set, overthrowing the evil rule of Hamas, returning all of our abductees home, both dead and the living, thwarting any future threat from Gaza to Israel, and returning our residents in the south and north safely to their homes." What's your reaction to that statement?
So the Prime Minister of Occupation and Genocide claims since the beginning of his assault on Gaza that this is a war on Hamas, and yet we see every school, church, mosque, every bakery, every way for a future for the Palestinians on the ground abolished. It's not a war on Hamas. It's a war on the Palestinian people. It's an acceleration of the ethnic cleansing, the plan that has been going on for decades now. Netanyahu yesterday called this war the war of resurrection, and it's mind-blowing that the world is allowing someone for his personal agenda to move and do all this damage to so many countries, claiming that he's doing that for security. because of security threat while becoming the security threat to peace in the region. So yeah, but you would expect it from him, but you wouldn't expect that to be understood or accepted from the others. That's our problem.
You mentioned the two-state solution. Of course, that is what not only Canada, but the United States believes that we need to fall back on, a two-state solution to end this war. But do you think, given what we've seen this year, that Jews and Palestinians can actually coexist in some type of peaceful state, given the war that we've witnessed this past year?
So, first and foremost for us, the struggle is not about religion or ethnicity. If our oppressor had been Christian, if the nationality had been French or Swiss or Arab of any country, our response would not be any different to this. Palestine had Jews, Muslims, and Christians living together, so this is not something that we are inventing. The problem here is that Netanyahu is selling this illusion that he is defending Judaism and the Jewish people, while he hides behind the notion that it's a religious issue between Jews and Palestinians, just to make sure that the world sees that Israeli well-being depends on Palestinian demise. And that is the problem. It's not about religion, it's not about nationality, it's about occupation and apartheid. And when that ends, and I want to quote here the Prime Minister of Jordan, who just destroyed that notion that Israel is doing this out of the need for security because it lives among enemies. He said that the Arab and Muslim world has been saying that they want peace. 57 countries stood, and he stood and spoke for them in the General Assembly, on the sidelines of the General Assembly, saying that at this point they would all agree to peace if Netanyahu ends the occupation of the Palestinian territory. So it's not the question of do we want or it's possible. It's the notion that Netanyahu wants the occupation and apartheid to stay in perpetuity, and Palestinians will not accept that in any way.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the argument that has been raised is the fact that when they tried to pursue two-state solution, there was still incursions happening on Israel. So for it is very much, at least the way he posits it, a security proposition for Israel. Until Hamas, until Hezbollah are gone, there is no security for Israel.
That's not true, because Netanyahu, until this day, he's saying that he calls the West Bank Judea and Samaria. So that's not a security issue. That's an issue that Netanyahu says there is no West Bank, there is no Palestine, there is no Palestinian territory. So it's the charade of hiding behind security is one thing, but when you divulge into the things that entail getting to a sovereign Palestinian state that brings peace, Netanyahu said that he would not allow it, that he was the person that decided the fate of Oslo Accords. So when someone shows you who they are and what they want, you need to listen to them.
I want to thank you for your time, and especially on this day marking an anniversary. Thank you for this.
Thank you.